What's up? How you doing? Good to see you. It's me, Analog Attack, back again, and today I'm super mega whirlwind chuffed to have Mr. Chris Corry back with us. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. It's pretty hot over here.
Yeah,
Uh,
you guys get those big bugs in the summer too,
I
right?
haven't seen one yet this year
Okay.
yet. Um,
Well, good luck.
yeah. So, Chris, today, what we're talking about, my friend?
This,
EARACHE Records. Yeah, surely one of the most influential labels in the history of extreme metal. Is it okay to use that term?
let's say extreme music.
Extreme music. Okay, definitely a pioneer. um, Started in England, 1986 or 1987, Nottingham, UK. Big discography, huge. And so we've given ourselves a sort of impossible task of choosing five records each. I'm not sure whether they're our favorites or influential records. We'll see how it goes. So, Chris, you have about five, right?
Yeah, I got. You know what? I was in a rush and I grabbed a bunch, so you might see a few extra here.
Cool, cool. We like extras. I've got probably a few extras. I've got five and a few extras. So, shall we kick it off? You want
Yeah,
to go first?
let's go first. All right.
Go ahead, my man.
Earache number one is my number five. Kind of a wild card pick, but
I was not expecting to see that. Yeah,
dude, this record first of all, his record shreds. This is
yeah,
like absolutely like the definition of raging hardcore,
yeah.
and it's super overlooked. And everybody's like, "Oh, noise, not music." Like, "Oh, this shit." This is like some real noise, not music.
No,
Like the songs are great. The playing is crazy.
no,
It just sounds like a just like wall of fuzz in your
that's
face. It
great.
looks cool.
Do you
It
think?
comes with
Mm,
yeah, I don't know, man. It just absolutely like to me that like defines that kind of UK hardcore. And maybe except for one of the Ripcord records, I think it's actually probably the best version of it.
do you think the
Um,
flexi disc format kind of throws people throws people off a bit?
it definitely makes it sound worse, but
Yeah. Hang on.
you
Can
know
you?
what? There's actually let me plug a label that's not earache.
Oh, go
There's a
ahead.
really great Boss Tunage reissue
Right.
of the
Yeah.
Flexi and the demo tape, and
Right.
that's absolutely essential, man.
Mm.
That stuff. That's the best heresy stuff. That's like some of the best UK hardcore ever.
So let's refresh our memory. So I think the lineup from that flexi is not like the classic John March on vocals lineup, right? Different
No,
lineup, right?
this is the three-piece heresy,
With
which to me,
Reevesy,
what's that?
Reevesy, I
Yeah,
think, vocalist.
you know what? You probably know. You must have hung out with these
Well,
guys a little, right?
this is a little bit before my time. This
Really?
this era of Harrison, yeah,
Okay. Do you have any heresy stories? So it's Calv.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, first of all, incredible live band. I mean, just amazing. I saw them quite a few times. I think the best one. I don't have a flyer. Best time was one BGK, Heresy, Ripcord, The Stupids.
oh, Jesus
That
Christ.
was a pretty decent show. And Calv was a real character. Of course, Calv ran In Your Face Records, also a really kind of influential label, played bass in Heresy, and he had some other bands too after that. But yeah, he lived in Nottingham, and yeah, I've hung around with him a few times, and he's a nice guy to have about 10 pints with.
This is he's wearing the Kronos is a fucking wimp t-shirt
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the
You know, it's
inserts.
funny when I went to Cal's house, because like I guess I can say it's like they really hated like the kind of crust scene,
Hmm.
like Doom and all those. So they had like all these like the crust core stickers on their toilet in the Heresy apartment. They were
It's
kind of really
funny.
anti that scene. They were really more like into kind of a totally different thing. But yeah, very cool band.
Like
Uh,
I don't think this sounds that different from Doom though. Like it's a little bit different, yeah, but
but
like it's pretty fucking close. Like it's funny that those guys would be, oh no, we don't like that.
I think I'm pretty sure it was Cal who was kind of like influential in really changing the sound up, because they really went to kind of almost like uniform choice kind of style
Yeah.
vocals on the Face Up
7 seconds.
record.
Like I always thought it was like them trying to do the crew.
Right, yeah, yeah. But nevertheless, always a great live band, and obviously a very important band to Earache,
Big time.
big
What do
time.
you got for number 5?
Number 5, well, I had to include this band because I think they're a really important band for Earache, and I'm going to go with Raw
Very nice.
for Victory. It's their 5th record. It's their best record, or my
Ah,
at, at least. Crushing record. I think this is their peak. They kind of hit that perfect match of kind of groove and brutality. But this is another band that I couldn't stand like back in the day, like because they'd always like play on like hardcore bills, right?
right.
So even to this day, in my mind I don't consider Bolt Thrower a death metal band. To me,
Nor
they're a
me
hardcore
either.
punk band,
Yeah.
because I always used to see them with like other hardcore bands, and they kind of have that DIY kind of ethic, and I really think they were kind of different from other death metal bands for
Did
me.
you see them when they were selling this?
Oh no, but you did, right?
Yeah, no, that's I went to
First demo only.
yeah, first demo. I'm a first demo only kind of guy. I really do love that first demo because it's got more hardcore vocals.
Right.
Um,
But it's weird. John Peel was a big fan. I remember him talking once. He was saying that he really likes all the like new UK hardcore, but he doesn't like the metally stuff. And then he said his
yeah,
favorite was Bolt Thrower. So I was like, "What?
what a
What are you
fucking
talking
psycho.
about?" But yeah, he was a big fan. And this is definitely an important record. Fifth LP, like the 5th LP from Bolt
Yeah.
Thrower. I saw him many times, but I think this was probably the best
Oh, that's
time.
lovely stuff.
So it's like
Look at
SOB
that line.
first UK tour, Bolt Thrower bottom of the bill, SOB Doctor and the Crippins, and then Napalm Death headlining. So yeah, this
Now,
is
who was the best that night?
Hmm?
Who was the best band
Uh,
on that
for
bill
me,
that
I
night?
was really into like really into Japanese hardcore at that time. So SOB was like, but there was a lot of racism, towards SOB because like at that time most people didn't really know about Japanese hardcore very
Hmm.
much. So it was like they're just like a miniature, Asian Napalm Death. I hear all these comments when they were playing and stuff. It was kind of disheartening. Really stupid considering that it was actually Napalm Death were really influenced by SOB.
SOB.
But nobody knew
Yeah.
that. They just thought SOB were kind of Napalm Death copyists.
Wow.
But anyway, just funny to see Bolt Thrower at the bottom of the bill.
Yeah.
This is how I remember them, just bottom of the bill or mid bill on a hardcore show. So in my mind, they're still not a death metal band to me. I know it's weird, but
That makes sense to me, man. They don't. Yeah, it's weird. They're almost like a pseudo death metal style, but like under, I just hear, like a better version of Axe Grinder or something like
and they're
that.
really cool. They've got really cool politics. They're really smart people. They're really cool people. Joe Bench is a real punk rocker. I think she was good friends with some of the women from girls' school too. And you'll see, and she's
Oh
wearing like
shit.
like UK subs T-shirt. When you go and see him, she's a kind of punk rock. Yeah, and that Crass, you see Carl Willits with the Crass T-shirt on and stuff. You don't really
Yeah.
see other death metal bands doing that kind of stuff. So, except
We Magic Circle did get to open for them one time.
really,
I mean, we were at the bottom of the bill. They were up top, and
right?
they were really really cool. They weren't divas at all,
No, no,
at least not to us. And
right,
even like their sound engineer like watched all the bands and stuff.
right. Yeah, yeah, that kind
Um,
of vibe. Yeah, but
yeah,
they were supposed to come to Japan about 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, I forget the timeline, but they turned it down because the venue was too small.
hmm.
That was kind of weird because yeah, but
Okay,
it was sad because it would have been good to see them again, but never mind. So that's my number 5. I think they're a really important band for the
absolutely.
Earache label. All right, so yeah.
Okay, my number 4,
Mm.
Cathedral, the Ethereal Mirror.
Oh, fantastic! Is that your favorite Cathedral record from the Earache era?
I think bottom line it is.
Okay.
So it's like a real important album for me. Like,
Right.
not to be corny or
Mm,
anything, but
mm,
this, like, I feel like this gave me permission to like play other music besides just hardcore bands.
right.
Because I heard it, my friend Justin, who's in, I mean, I probably mentioned him in the last
Mm,
episode too.
yeah.
He's in Magic Circle. I asked him what other bands sound like Black Sabbath. He said Cathedral,
Cathedral.
Ethereal Mirror.
Mm,
And I listened to it, and then I found out it was all guys that just used to be, in Acid Rain and
yeah.
Napalm Death, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that blew my mind at the time. And it's a really weird record actually. It's like it's very polished up, but
Right.
like when you hear like the grim luxuria, like all the weird like laughing voices and stuff,
Yeah.
like what the fuck is that? The riffs are amazing.
Yeah.
The singing is like totally unhinged and like really cool.
You know what? Lee, people kind of say Lee Dorian is like a really terrible vocalist. I disagree. I think his voice fits Cathedral perfectly.
I mean, you're never gonna see him at the opera, but like he's amazing. I like
Yeah.
he's incredible. I like the stuff he does on the demo in Forest of Equilibrium. That is totally insane and unprecedented.
Right.
And then he does this stuff, and it's like completely different, but
Right.
there's like so much attitude in there. He
Yeah.
looks cool.
Yeah.
He's
Absolutely.
like the only guy who, well, and the other guys in the band too. Who I feel like when they started wearing bell bottoms and shit in the 90s, where like I was actually like, yeah, that's pretty, I mean,
Mm,
I wasn't aware of this in the 90s, but
right.
when I saw pictures of this stuff, I was like, these guys look cool. And everybody else, I'm like, you look like an asshole.
I mean,
But
completely unfashionable. I mean, just nobody was really doing that stuff, and it's cool. I like the fact that they never also really fit into that kind of whole stoner rock thing. Like the
yeah,
man's ruin, they kind of managed to kind of be their own thing. I always kind of like that, but I guess that's with having like Rise Above Records. They were totally in control of, you know, everything. So
yeah.
very cool. But I tell you what, Chris, back in the day, before you were born, uh,
When do you think I was born, man?
so okay, Lee Dorian leaves Napalm Death. There's like a little bit of a break. I don't know how long it was. I don't remember. And then suddenly in the underground sort of tape trading scene, this live Cathedral tape pops up. It may have even been their first show, and I just, I just didn't get it at all at the time, and so I just didn't follow them. I mean, for until maybe the late '90s, and then I went back because they were on MTV and stuff and all sorts around that kind of Hopkins Witchfinder and that kind of era.
I mean, this album is on Earache, but the compact disc came out on Columbia Records.
That was the era where they had that deal right with Columbia in the States.
And there was some money spent on this, and it sold like 20,000 copies. Which, just to put it in perspective, I think probably everybody that's watching this is old. But if you're not old, 20,000 for like an underground band now would be pretty good. 20,000 then on Columbia Records, that's like as bad as it gets. So
right. And of course, there's this classic, the best gig of all time.
dude, the best gig. I know this flyer. I love this show.
But it's like, looks like Cathedral is. I think this is really early days Cathedral because they're like at the bottom of the bill, and it says X, X Napalm Death and Acid Rain, and then SOB. And I want to say that SOB were not on tour for this gig. I think they might have been in England, like recording one of their kind of major label albums. Yeah. I think so. And then St. Vitus, and then Agnostic Front.
Just based on like the possible timeline, I'm guessing 91. I'm guessing this is probably the end of AF doing the
right.
What do you call it? Not the final. Oh God, the record with Matty Henderson playing guitar, whichever one that is.
Right.
I can't. I'm blanking on the name. I've lost all my hardcore credentials now.
Yeah, but what that must have been an amazing night out. So
yeah.
Maybe this was on the SOB like second UK tour, but I don't know. I think they were hanging around in London when they were like recording one of their kind of major label Japan.
What the hell was Vitus doing there? Do you think they just intersected or what?
I don't know. I don't actually know anyone who went to that show.
Huh. That might be the era of Vitus with the guy from Count Raven singing.
I think you could be right. Yeah.
COD
Yeah.
era.
Right. Okay. Is it
Underrated
my
record.
turn or your turn?
Yeah, it is your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. Then I've got another band that I think is a really important band to Earache, and they're a little bit different. Uh, Godflesh,
All right.
Pure. For me, this is like peak Godflesh. I mean, most people might go for their, Street Cleaner and Slave State. They're the most brutal records, but on this one, they really found like a real perfect mix of kind of almost danceable industrial beats mixed with the heaviness, and I love this record. It's really catchy. I think it's kind of mid early to mid 90s. Again, another
I think
band that
92, right?
92. Again, another band that were always just on hardcore bills. Just two guys making an unholy racket. Again, I didn't like them. It's like I got to sit through Godflesh to wait for the Stupids or like whatever American band is. I think I saw them playing with maybe like the False Prophets or Scream or someone like that.
Whoa.
So that's why, again, another band that I still consider to be kind of a punk kind of band. And you've got like Justin Broderick who played on the first Napalm Death record.
Yeah.
Different vibe.
I almost busted out Street Cleaner for this, but in the end, it didn't make the cut for me.
Yeah, this is my favorite Godflesh. I think it's just the perfect mix of kind of, and it's not too industrial. It's just really minimalistic kind of hip hop beats almost.
A lot of stuff I think is actually really underrated. The stuff they did after Street Cleaner, but before the reunion.
Yeah, I think so.
There's like a lot of really interesting stuff there.
Selfless is good too. It's another good one.
Selfless is good, yeah.
This is my favorite by far.
Very cool.
Great band, an interesting band, sort of an important band for Earache Records too. I think they, introduced a lot of different kind of people maybe into buying records from Earache, different audience maybe.
Yeah, and that's the time that they started crossing over and doing more electronic stuff, right?
Right, with Johnny Violent and Scorn. That was kind of Mick Harris side.
Yeah, like kind of harsh industrial techno.
Meathook Seed and stuff like that.
I don't know if that would be considered gabber. That's out of my zone of
Yeah.
knowledge.
They had a lot of things going on. Yeah. Okay, Chris, what's your next?
Oh, it just came to me. The Agnostic Front record I was thinking of is One Voice.
One Voice.
But that's not on Earache record. I am cheating a little bit because I got out there was a sub-label on Earache called Necrosis, and
wasn't that run by one of the Carcass guys?
It had something. I think Jeff Walker was involved, but it was distributed through Earache and the logo. So there's the Carnage LP that's on Necrosis.
That's a great record. I love that.
There's the Cadaver record, but
In Pains?
for me, Horrified is number 3.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it is marketed by Earache.
That was just like, let's give Jeff something to do. Let him.
Well, he did it, man, because without him, this would have just been a demo tape, and it would have been on some garbagey label. 20 years later with a big puffy fat gatefold, and it would have been gross. But this is cool. It's got a crappy thin European jacket that's the seam's about to split. The vinyl is super thin. This is how it should be, in my opinion. This is the best American underground thrash to me. I mean, it's kind of death metal, it's kind of thrash, it's kind of punk. 18 songs. I love the production. The guitars just sound like they just dimed all the knobs, and they do 2 drum beats the whole record. I mean, they look like outsiders. It sounds like an outsider record. They were treated like if you've ever seen footage of them, it's just 40 kids with ripped up pants and a VFW circle pitting. And that's the shit that I live for, man. I'll be honest, I don't care that much about a lot of the big death metal records. To me, something like this is just way cooler, way more unique.
Yeah.
And this influenced probably all the bands, Carcass, Napalm Death, all those guys were like trying to do this, but
yeah,
there is something magic about this that nobody else captured.
right.
And
Mm.
just a record that has been in my rotation for, I don't know, 15, 20 years nonstop.
It's funny when I used to go and see Napalm Death, like with Lee Dorian, Mickey Harris, Bill Steer, Shane lineup. Mick Harris would always like shout out like names of bands that he was getting into, and like so I would often hear him shouting out Repulsion and like Terrorizer and like giving props to all these bands. Pretty cool.
That's such a cool thing you can only do when you're young. Like when
Yeah.
you get to a certain age, you're like, what? Why the fuck would I do that? Like that's weird. But
Yeah,
when
but
you're like
what
22, you're
talking
just
about Repulsion, like
it's so cool. It's so
yeah,
it's like the best.
they were those guys was like, especially Mick Harris was like super like enthusiastic about like the tape trading and like underground demos and stuff. And
As a nerd myself, I always like to see and give respect to other nerds like that. So I
pretty
respect that
cool.
in a big way. Yeah.
Really.
What you
Okay,
got for number 3?
I'm gonna go to a band, another band that I think is really important. This is not my favorite record personally of this band, but it was the first record I bought. And if you're squeamish, look away now.
Avert your eyes.
Yeah, it's first Carcass record. When this came out, I mean, it just blew everyone away. It was like, what the hell is this? And I bought it in this really small record store in suburban England. I put it in the plastic bag, and the girlfriend I had at the time, her parents were kind of really posh, and I just put the records like down. It's just this record, and he just grabbed it. He's, oh, you like records, do you? What did you buy? And he bought it, and he like picked it out of the bag, and he was like, oh, what's this? So I don't blame him. I mean, it's pretty horrific, but yeah, it's a crazy record, horrible production, just mud, but really important record.
It is horrible production, but if it sounded any other way, it just wouldn't feel the same.
You're right. I mean, I'm just going to show these, but these are kind of my actual sort of favorite Carcass records. But the first record was the one that was just like, Jesus Christ, like what's going on here? And to prove my point about what I was saying about these bands like not being death metal or whatever, there was this show which I went to. So you've got Napalm Death headlining again, and, Extreme Noise Terror, Electro Hippies, Doom, and then right at the bottom, Carcass. That was a good show. I traveled a bit to go and see this show, but for Carcass it says Grind Mayhem, and then like here it says it's just under Napalm Death and above Extreme Noise Terror, but it says severe hardcore. That term should have caught on. It's a great term.
It's not too late, man. Here we are in 2020.
Severe hardcore. That's definitely like a Dean Jones thing. Definitely, absolutely. Severe hardcore. Yeah, because they put on this gig. This is like an Extreme Noise Terror organized gig, and it's a benefit for like the Hunt Sabs. So Carcass, grindcore, death metal band doing a benefit for Hunt Saboteurs. They're all vegan. That's why these bands they're different to me,
Yeah, no, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, respect. Yeah, you got like your choice is like that or like Glenn Benton like shooting a squirrel with a BB gun.
Exactly. Yeah, and then didn't Lee Dorian even just recently Cathedral? Actually, can't be that recently, but they cancelled a festival because of some like animal rights thing. There was a band that was going to slaughter like.
That sounds right. He's definitely vegan, so I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's vegan. Yeah.
Respect.
So, yeah, these things kind of set these bands apart from your typical dumb grind and dumb death metal bands.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, great band. I like the new album too. Obviously.
Ugh, can't stand it.
Anyway, moving on.
To anybody named Jeff Walker watching, I'm so sorry, but
moving swiftly along.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
Oh,
matches your shirt. This is still looks like it's still in the shrink or something like that. This is, I mean, It's definitely the best production to ever be done at Morris Sound, I think.
Right.
And it's just, to me, this is just a hardcore record. There's a lot of double kick on it, and that's metal. But I mean, like, there's no guitar solos. It's just like pure, like, just meat and potatoes, like perfect blasting hardcore. Like the vocals are like amazing. Like the guitar playing, Pete Sandolfo's drumming is insane. Like, you know, like I can't say anything bad about the Terrorizer album. It's just, if someone was like, what's like the best grind record I should hear, that's what I would say, because it sounds so good and the songs are so good.
Yeah.
And it personifies like that era of the genre perfectly.
I did like a 29-second video.
Yeah.
About top 5 grindcore records. I didn't speak.
I get it.
5 records and then said bye. Like I just.
It's very severe hardcore of you.
Severe hardcore. That you got to use that. No one's using it.
Severe yeah. I'll write that on my arm.
Forehead tattoo. I want to show something just before I move on to my real next one, because you know we're talking about like Lee Dorian, you know, in the 70s, you know, wearing the flares and getting into the 70s stuff. We shouldn't forget that also Bill Steer was,
of course, Firebird,
doing a bit of that stuff too. It's not on EARACHE, it's on Rise Above, but I just thought I'd remind everyone that it's not only Lee who was doing the kind of 70s thing. Bill with Firebird, and he has another band too, Gentleman's Pistols.
Gentleman's Pistols, I think, something like that.
His band, but this is great if you like free or blues rock. Dare I say use that term? That's great.
It's been a reoccurring
He's a
motif.
Great singer. He's a great singer too.
He's really good at like, you know, pretty much everything. Actually, fuck, I can't get to it right now. I have a zine that he did as a boy. It's called Violence and Force Fanzine. It's clearly made by an adolescent.
Right.
Everything it's got some real interviews in it, but there's some photos pasted in, but all of the logos and like band mascots are hand drawn.
Right.
So there's like a hand drawn Megadeth. What's his name? Vic, the skeleton guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
There's like a hand drawn one of those, and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff like that. It's a really cool, like very amateur looking zine.
Wasn't Bill also in that like band Dis Attack? Was that Jeff?
I know Dis Attack is pre-Carcass. I think Bill was in it.
Right.
I like that tape. That's good.
Yeah.
I was hoping someone would reissue that at some point, but no such stuff.
I've seen a record, like a Dis Attack.
Yeah, it's a bootleg, I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. It's probably got a big puffy sleeve with an ugly gatefold on it.
Picture this.
Yeah, you know. So like 7 colors splattered vinyl shit. All right, man.
Okay, Chris, I think it's your turn.
Yeah, but I was rushing, and so I grabbed all a handful of Napalm Death records here.
Let's talk about Napalm Death.
It's not this one.
Okay. Oh.
It's not that one.
Okay.
The live album that comes with this pressing is really good. That's the live album. It's June 29th at the ICA in London.
Cool. I've been there.
It's not that. That's Suffer the Children.
It's
not this, although this is really underrated. Mentally Murdered.
Man, I can't find that around these days. It's really annoying.
You don't see it so much. And with the Discharge shirt.
And look at the pants, the camo pants. I think he has Confused.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it says, wait, can you see that? Confused logo drawn on his pants.
Amazing. It's
not this, although this is my favorite Barney record.
It has artwork by Mid from Deviated Instinct. Again,
that's right.
Kind of punk connection.
Let's see. Not really any cool shirts on this, though. Well, Barney's wearing a Vicious Rumors shirt and has a giant nose ring.
Yeah.
I don't know. This doesn't have a cover. It says Mosh number 8 test pressing. So this must be the From Enslavement. Right. It's dated September 88.
Right.
This is the test press of the live record from the Harmony Corruption. Right. So then this one looks like I drew a little logo here. That's Harmony Corruption test press.
Wow.
And we got your Mass Appeal Madness with it's a nice promo photo in there.
Cool.
Here There it is. Scum #1. But this is a pretty crappy looking copy, so we'll bump up to the test press here.
Okay.
You can see wait, can you see this shit? If you look very closely, that's 4 June 1987, which leads me to believe that this is the original test pressing.
Right. Making records. I've been there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you used to press records.
I pressed all my records at Making. Yeah.
No shit. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, even though someone gave me this for free, so it's a little trashed.
We're on the same boat with this, so I'll show my crappy orange.
But it's the best, man. This record is the best.
Well,
totally
when this record came out, I mean, we just couldn't stop playing it. It was just insane. Like, I mean, none of us have heard anything like it.
Are you a side A guy or a side B guy?
I knew you were going to ask me that question, so
it's a must-ask question.
I prepared my answer. I can't choose. Like, for me, in fact, when we first got this record, we were so like excited about it. We knew it kind of sounded different, but we kind of even really didn't bother to check because we were just young and stupid. So and then we said, oh, side B kind of sounds different. I wonder why. And of course, like totally different lineup, different year, different session. Because they got it's the same photos on the back, right? It's the same lineup. Like they didn't.
Is it Jim from Ripcord in the pictures?
Jim from Ripcord. Yeah. Jim Whiteley, yeah.
He plays on the B side?
Yeah. So the B side's more kind of Celtic Frost riffy, right?
I think but it's got more of the fast songs with Lee.
It has more songs on it.
Yeah. I guess it's got some Celtic Frost parts, but then it's also it's like more hardcore too.
Yeah.
And it is Jim playing bass on that stuff.
Yeah. Again,
but it's I like that A side too, man. The A side is cool.
I can never choose. I like it, but this is like, I think again another huge probably the most important record for Earache Records.
It has to be, right?
Right.
I mean, this is like they played it. John Peel was obsessed with it.
That gig poster I just showed you with the Napalm Death Carcass. He was at that show.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he lives in that town, so he would always go and see Extreme Noise Terror. And when they played, not always, but when he could. There's a video about John Peel, like a little documentary, and they show him at an Extreme Noise Terror gig.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I read that he brought his family to one.
He did, yeah. He did. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that record, man. When I heard this, I got into like Infest and Crossed Out and all that stuff, and then I think I must have asked somebody what other stuff sounds like this, and someone suggested Scum.
Did it sound good? Like after going back after, do you know what I mean? Like being into, because Infest's kind of, maybe you could say it's more extreme than Napalm Death, but in a way.
Not to me, no way.
Okay, so it didn't sound like dated or anything when you went back. No.
Infest is almost like more hardcore, and Napalm is like a little more, just more like straight up noisy and crazy sounding.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe this was from like 1987.
Yeah, I mean it was insane. There was that record, and then like the Extreme Noise Terror side of the split with Chaos UK was another kind of like Jesus Christ kind of record. But yeah. And they went on to record for Earache later, so it's okay to talk about that. So
it is.
Yeah. And Agnostic Front also.
And Agnostic Front. We can talk about them anytime.
So Chris, have you got one more? I've got one more. Did you show your last one?
I showed all mine.
Okay, then it's me, I guess. I got one more. I just wanted to show like a pure like death metal record, just because Earache, really so many death metal records. So I just wanted to show one, and like totally different from all the records I've shown. American band.
There they are.
Yeah, it had to be done. I mean, huge band. This is my favorite Morbid Angel record, and obviously important band for Earache. Probably the biggest band on Earache, maybe. The
I
best.
think that specific record is the one that has sold the most. If I'm remembering whatever stupid death metal book I read at some point, that was touted as selling like 200,000 copies or something.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's part of the deal with maybe Giant Records or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I think this record kind of maybe sealed the deal with the US thing, the major label thing. I don't know. But
That album is it's like so clean sounding, but it's very heavy too.
it is. It's kind of evil sounding, which is an obvious word.
It
But
is a little bit
death
evil.
metal. But
Yeah.
just I wanted to show this also just to kind of contrast with like you've got Bolt Thrower with the the veganism and the crass t-shirts and the DIY and the supporting Doctrine of Crippins on one hand, and then you've got this, which is the not shooting the squirrel, but like totally different vibes.
Very evil.
Maybe even some dodgy politics in there somewhere, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't heard.
Mm.
Hopefully, don't have to.
Uh,
The band that went to my high school opened for Morbid Angel on the
Right.
Domination tour.
right.
That's my only Morbid Angel anecdote. But because of that, there was a review of Domination in the school paper at my high school.
Yeah, I think this is also when Morbid Angel was signed to EARACHE. That's the moment I think a lot of kind of punk and DIY people kind of jumped off the EARACHE train.
That's natural, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We
are
did
done?
it.
We did
Yeah.
it. Great label, huge discography. I was surprised you didn't bring out any Blackberry Smoke or Rival
Yeah, my
Sons.
Rival Sons test press collection is actually too big for me to pull off the shelf.
Right.
So I didn't even bother.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, man. It was good to talk to you as always. Thanks for joining
you too.
me again. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
We'll
until
speak
next
again.
time, stay healthy and
Stay clean.
clean.